Well, the increase in air temperature has definitely been notable and noticeable this week. I'm having to bring with extra t-shirts so when I jump in the lake in the afternoon between trips, I can put on a dry shirt. Hey, this is Jason Durham with Go Fish Guide Service, bringing you this week's Park Rapids Area Fishing Report, brought to you by Delaney's Outdoors and the Park Rapids Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce. Well, that warmer air temperature equates to warmer water temperatures, surface temperatures, and as the water mixes in, warmer temperatures down deeper. We haven't seen the same progression that we typically do over the course of what we'd call a somewhat average summer. And we haven't seen that water stratify into the three distinct layers that typically happens this time of year. If you're used to coming here and trolling for bigger predator fish suspended over deep water, maybe like 20, 25 feet down over deep water, that bite isn't taking place. We just haven't had the setup for it with the air temperature, with the water temperature. We're finding fish in a lot of different areas right now. The walleyes specifically, we're primarily finding in the weeds and on the primary drop-off. Now, there's always going to be some fish out a little bit deeper. There's always going to be some fish up feeding in the weeds, but target those walleyes up fairly shallow. So you're talking less than 20 feet of water. But that doesn't go for every lake. Some lakes are different and those fish are, out deeper. Big Sand Lake, typically those fish run a little bit deeper. But if you go to a smaller body of water that the maximum depth is only 20 feet, you're not going to see that same setup of the thermocline. The bass right now have been doing really, really well. Largemouth bass, deeper weed lines, get out deep. 20 feet of water, that's where we found them the other day. It was really hard to get bit less than 12 feet. However, they're largemouth bass. There's always going to be some up in the vegetation, up in the slop, up in this much water. So if you like to throw frogs or flip jigs, frogging time, man, we are about there. Really great period to catch largemouth on topwater. The smallmouth, the walleye anglers are seeing those because you're encountering them typically on these transitions of like rock and weed, and they'll go out deep too. They'll suspend over that deep water, looking for bait fish, suspending bait fish. Northern pike, we're catching those mixed in with the walleye, and we've caught them out deeper too. Northerns typically gravitate towards deeper, cooler water, but we're getting big fish. Man, these last couple of weeks have been outstanding for big pike. The muskie anglers really just having a smashing season this year. All the reports that I hear, and I haven't been muskie fishing in the last week, but a lot of our guides here do, and I just know a lot of buddies who do, and the muskie fishing has been impressive. When muskie fanatics aren't getting any sleep right now because they're fishing all night long, they're fishing all day long because the bite's been good, you know it's time to get here and get a line in the water. And then the panfish, of course, the bluegills and the crappies. The crappies have been pretty much on that deep weed line right now. Bluegills have even moved out a little bit deeper on some bodies of water where you're catching them out in 20, 25 feet of water, a little bit different than you might be used to. But for this time of year, that's not so uncommon. If you have electronics, you can use the electronics to find them. But during those low light periods too, sun up, sun down, watch the water. It's usually calmer at that period. If you see these little dots that almost look like it's raining, you've got bait fish. If you see bigger swirls, you've got panfish. Easy to find them with your eyes. Well, if you're coming up to Park Rapids, make sure you bring your sunblock. Make sure you bring plenty of hydration. And come up for this weekend, August 4th, the annual Taste of Dorset in downtown Dorset, Minnesota. You could even become the new mayor of Dorset. We hope to see you up here in the Park Rapids area.